What I love about Commando is the way that it brings the past to life. The visual storytelling means that every panel, every action, every movement, every piece of conversation, you're reminded of the period of history that people are living in, the circumstances they're living through. And that, combined with the action that keeps the story going, I think makes for a great comic. I think that what makes a great Commando is having an interesting character facing tough challenges, particularly if you can put them in an unexpected bit of history, somewhere we're not used to. For example, someone dealing with escape lines in World War II, female partisans on the Russian front, the bits that we don't hear about so much, that gets a reader's attention, and as a writer gives me something really interesting to get my teeth into. My favourite issue I've worked on was V for Vittoria, which was a sequel to a previous Napoleonic comic I'd written called The Forlorn Hope. Both of them are set during the Napoleonic Wars, in the campaign in the Spanish Peninsula. The Napoleonic Wars are really interesting, both for the politics, for the style of warfare, and for the sorts of people who were fighting in the armies at the time. And I particularly enjoyed V for Vittoria because it was the first time I got to go back to characters I'd written before and see how they moved on since the previous comic, to expand upon their lives, and then to throw in a new wrinkle, which in this case was adding the guerrillas, so showing the civilians who also fought against the French occupation of Spain. Just check this is still recording. Yes, it is. Right. What I'd like to see from Commando in the next 60 years is just more variety. I think there's a great opportunity to show a greater range of people in different settings, different time periods, different parts of the world, and the wars they've lived through. It would also be great to see more comics that combine with other genres. I've been lucky enough to write a sci-fi story. I know other people have written ones with bits of horror. It'd be good to see maybe detective stories set in the trenches of World War I, or something that brought in elements of fantasy while keeping that distinctive Commando style and dynamic and those exciting character-driven stories. My favourite period to write about is the Middle Ages. I studied this for years at university. I've got a master's in medieval history. I wrote my undergraduate dissertation on the 100 Years' War. This is the stuff that I've been obsessed with for like 20 odd years. And I think because it's that period in Europe carries the roots of our modern society while also looking very different and feeling very different. So that's interesting. And when writing a Commando comic, it's a particularly cool period to write about because of the nature of warfare at the time. It's up close, it's personal, it's very visceral, and at the same time people had these idealized ideas of heroism and chivalry that shaped the way they behaved. That, I think, makes for some really interesting characters, strong motivations, and engaging, exciting action scenes.